133 days. That's how long Cowboys Nation has waited to see their quarterback, their leader, back behind center. Well, tonight, opening night in the NFL, that streak comes to a close because Dak is back. It's opening night in the NFL. It's the Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this is Cowboys Pregame Live. Week one of the NFL season is here. Cowboys Pregame live from the Star in Frisco. It's the Globe Life Studios as the Cowboys prepare to take on the reigning Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Alongside former Cowboys Isaiah Stanback and Barry Church as well, I'm Kyle Yeoman. Soon to be joined by Nate Newton, Britt Johnson, Danny Sarek, and Nick Eatman live out in Tampa Bay, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are celebrating their 2020 championship. And 2020 is a year that the Dallas Cowboys would really like to forget.
And Dallas may be about to fly home done for the year. It's third down and goal, and the snap back to Dalton. He's in trouble, rolling left, heaves it up, it's a duck in the end zone, it's intercepted. The Giants look like, barring something really crazy, they're going to be the ones in position if Washington loses.
The facts are what they are. I mean, we finished 6-10, and we'll take the step back and go through a thorough evaluation.
Mike Nolan, he has been let go by the Cowboys.
Mike Nolan has been relieved of his duties.
And it was a move that wasn't necessarily surprising.
The Cowboys have gone to work rather quickly in trying to fix that defense.
You got to make a change, and so they did, and they got a guy that is a proven defensive coordinator.
Man, I'm excited to get rolling with you guys, so let's let it rip.
One way or the other, get somebody at quarterback that the players will follow.
I've put a lot into it, and I've got a lot more to give.
The Dallas Cowboys select Michael Parsons,
Kelvin Joseph,
Osa Odigizua,
Nashawn Wright.
Now they've got Jabril Cox. Cowboys going to get that defense fixed.
Intercepted. It's the rookie safety, Israel Nokwamu.
Cowboys versus Buccaneers. This Buccaneers team, it's very, very impressive.
Number one, you got to do whatever the hell it takes to win the game.
We got a good energy going, great intensity every single day, focus. It comes down to all 11 guys doing their part to this defense.
Thursday night game, starting the season off. I wouldn't want it any other way, to be honest. From the shoulder to the leg to my mind, I'm ready to go.
It's the 20th all-time meeting between the Cowboys and the Buccaneers, and it just so happens that the Buccaneers have come off of a Super Bowl title, and the Cowboys opening the season. Opening week is always special in the NFL. Each of you have been a part of it, and each of you have also faced a reigning Super Bowl champion in opening week. Why does this one just feel a little bit different?
It feels a little bit different. You still get the excitement. You still get the butterflies going. But this is Thursday night. This is prime time. And you're the only game on national television. So everybody's mom, their families are watching. And you're not going against some pushover. You're not going against a division opponent that you played 100 times. You're going against the defending Super Bowl champs, returning all 22 starters. Isaiah, let's hope the Cowboys are up for the task.
Yeah, I think they have to step things up tonight a little bit, and I think the reason why it's so different tonight is because these guys are coming off of a ton of injuries last year. Obviously, we already touched on it earlier. That's a year that we want to forget about. But with Dak is back, we have one of the most powerful offenses, probably against the most powerful offense in the league. It should light up the boards tonight, boys.
Now, you mentioned the return of injury for a bunch of these Dallas Cowboys, especially the starters there. Why is that such an added element to this offseason? You just went through it. We saw Dak Prescott and his contract, the addition of some of these rookies that are now going to make an impact, which, of course, we will talk about later. But, Isaiah, why is it the fact that now you get these guys back, you think you have a shot again?
Well, because you're back at full power. I mean, you lost your number one. You lost Dak Prescott last year, and that is obviously something that's hard to overcome. Not only did we lose our QB1, we lost our offensive lineman, right, our all-pro lineman. So now you feel like, okay, guess what? We're done with our second string, our third string quarterbacks, tight ends, everybody else. Now we have all of our dogs back. Let's go out there and run the scoreboard up.
Yeah, look, exactly like you said. You got your quarterback back. This offensive line, I think, has been the healthiest it's been since 2019. And you got a whole influx of talent on this defensive side of the ball. It's exciting times for the Cowboys. Let's hope they're ready for Tampa tonight.
The biggest storyline, I think, throughout the week already has to deal with that offensive line and how They thought they were going to be healthy. You would get Tyron Smith back. You get Lyle Collins back. However, Zach Martin out tonight against the Buccaneers because of a positive COVID test early on throughout the process this week. And I think overall, that's one of the biggest negative things coming out of this week. Everything has been very positive. Here's what Mike McCarthy had to say about overall. I mean, you look at Mike McCarthy in his way of thinking about how to recover and how to replace Zach Martin.
I think clearly Connor's ready to go. He finished strong last year and really has had a challenge, bouncing back and forth all training camp through left guard and right guard. So, but, it gives him a chance to settle in with all the reps this week. So, but yeah, I think his experience last year definitely helps him.
Does it help? Sorry. No, go ahead. I was going to say, again, finding another silver lining, does it help at least that you got this runway for Connor McGovern, finding out when you did about Zach Martin, as opposed to finding out, say, Tuesday or Wednesday?
Well, definitely. I think anytime you have a chance to give a player who's going to be starting on short notice, all the reps, and we're technically today's Friday, and then he had both sets of reps both Wednesday and Thursday, so he's had a chance to exercise all the segments of the game plan. So yeah, he'll be ready to go.
And there you heard Mike McCarthy and kind of the way that they're having to adjust a little bit without Zach Martin in that opening lineup. Combined over at the table, now joined by Nate Newton, we have 6 Pro Bowls and 3 Super Bowl titles combined between the two of us.
Yes,
which,
sir.
Thank goodness, we have that much over here because the Cowboys are missing 6 Pro Bowls in Zach Martin in that offensive line tonight. How big of an impact is it that he's not in the game?
I call him the president. He's the glue. He runs everything. He keeps everybody calm. When things get hectic, his soothing voice keep everybody going. That'll be a big miss tonight.
He is definitely the biggest miss for the Dallas Cowboys. And Connor McGovern, like Mike McCarthy just said, is going to have to fill the biggest shoes I think you could have on the offensive side of the football. Let's take a look at some of the other inactives for tonight's game. Luckily, outside of Zach Martin, this list is pretty short. Now, Malik Hooker, a big name up at the top of that list. Free safety.
Yes.
Former first-round pick. He was acquired earlier this season. Him not being active is a surprise. The rest of these guys, maybe not so much. You wanted to maybe see Israel Mukuamu as a part of that defense, but why is it so big to not have Malik Hooker in that starting lineup?
Just a playmaker, just a guy that understands what Coach Quinn wants. He can help line guys up, get guys going in the right direction. Hey, he's a big playmaker too, so he'll be a big miss.
What about later down the list? You want to see some of those rookies get an opportunity to see some time. You don't get to see Israel Mukuamu tonight, Azur Kamara, who was a star for the Hard Knocks series. Why is it that these young guys aren't available?
I just think at the beginning of the year, you need those reps for these guys. I know it's a big game and the lights are big, but you need these reps for these guys. So by the time the middle of the season comes, they'll know what to do. They'll know how to line up, and we'll know exactly who they are.
So let's take a look again at Connor McGovern, the backup plan for Zach Martin. How confident are you in the backup plan? The Cowboys were 3-3 last year without Zach Martin as a part of that offensive line.
Yes, but Connor has experience now, and I like this kid. He's a physical kid. He's a tough kid. He plays well. He needs to be able to anchor down big time against Vita Vea and Dominican Sue. He needs to be physical, and every now and then just get an extra shove to let them know that they're there.
What about the pressure for Kellen Moore tonight, having to replace a guy like that in the front 5? I think overall Kellen Moore has a lot of pressure going into this year to convert with the weapons that he has, but how is he going to do that without the offensive line?
Just play the numbers. If it's third and short, don't try to be trickery. If it's third and long, we know we got Cooper, we got CeeDee Lamb, and we got Gallup. Play it by the numbers. Play the situation. Look out there. Hey, our defense been out there a long time. Let's try to run that ball. Let's try to get Zeke involved. This is no thing for Kellen. This is Kellen, 18th, third or fourth year, but hey, he's ready.
He's the young boy genius on that offensive side. 18th season. I mean, he's been around the game for a long time. Maybe not that long, but we'll look at it as so. Of course, there's a ton of pressure overall with Kellen Moore this season. Hey, let's go out to Raymond James Stadium and hear from Nick Eatman, who sets the stage of the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. Nick, how's it going?
Thanks so much, Kyle. Yes, here at Raymond James Stadium, Cowboys and Bucks, we finally get to say it. We don't have to say September 9th anymore. We get to say today, tonight. And it's finally here. Crowd is filing in here. A lot of Cowboy fans here. Of course, there's going to be a lot of excitement from Tampa Bay as they're going to, unveil their Super Bowl winning banner and all that stuff. And this ship that's over here, they'll be, the cannons will be firing from that. Hopefully not too many times, but still, just so excited to be here. I got a chance to see Tyron Smith, La'el Collins on the field before the game, just working out, and it just felt so good to see those two guys out there. We know how much they were missed. Now, there wasn't a third veteran lineman there with them. We know what happened with Zach Martin. He's not playing in this game. A little bit of clarity there on the situation with him. I know there was optimism earlier in the week that if he passed 2 tests and if he had a chance to be symptom-free, possibly he could play in the game. Those things just didn't happen, and he's still in Dallas. Sounds like he's doing really well. And if this game would have been on Sunday, there would have been a chance that he could have played in the game. Of course, it's not. It's Thursday, and he's going to miss it. Connor McGovern will get the start. But look for Zach Martin to be out there next week when the Cowboys go to L.A. to take on the Chargers. He should be back from the COVID protocol and should be able to play in that game. Now, speaking of star players, Zach Martin has been a captain before. Mike McCarthy does things a little bit different with his captains, and he rotates them each week. For this first one, no surprise, Dak Prescott is your offensive captain. Now, Randy Gregory, just how far he's come in his career. He's the defensive captain. Also, Darian Thompson is the captain for special teams. Those are 3 guys there. We'll see. They're going to need all 3 of them to play well as the Cowboys take on the champs. We'll get back to you guys later on. Kyle, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Thank you very much, Nick. And overall, there's a buzz around Raymond James Stadium. Just the fact that football is back, and, of course, they will be raising a banner tonight. Let's hear from Connor McGovern himself. We've talked a lot about Zach Martin. We've talked about his, replacement being the backup plan. But how does he feel comfort level-wise now having to back up the 6-time Pro Bowl guard?
Heard about it yesterday, Zach going down. Make sure everything's all right and all. He's feeling well. But always prepared, all ready. Never know when someone's going to go down or what's going to happen. And being in a situation like this, just got to be ready to step up. And last year helped me a lot with confidence, so I'm ready to go.
What's the key to maximizing this opportunity against the Buccaneers, and what do you see from that defensive front?
They're a good defensive front. They got really fast-flowing linebackers ready to go and just ready to step up and just carry over last year, build upon it, and just regroup as a whole line, just keep improving. Definitely a lot more comfortable. Last year, I took basically, it was almost a little over a year and a half off of football with the injury and all that. So last year was a little slower start. Took me a while to get into it, but this year, just building off last year, whole OTAs helped a lot, camp, and I just feel real comfortable right now.
Connor McGovern saw 604 snaps last year in the replacement for Zach Martin through 6 games of the 2020 season. Now to start 2021, he's going to have to do so again, and he's going to have to block for Ezekiel Elliott, who is looking for a bounce-back year starting tonight against Tampa Bay. And Danny Surek joins us with more on that.
Running back Ezekiel Elliott is very excited to get back onto the field. One of his main goals this season, hold on to the ball better. Elliott fumbled 6 times in 2020, tied for the most in his career. Now, the Cowboys' offensive line was riddled with injuries. In fact, left guard Connor Williams was the only starter to not miss multiple games due to injury. However, Zeke says that's not an excuse, which is why he's very excited to get this new season kicked off and redeem himself.
I'm definitely excited to kind of start a new chapter and just kind of redeem myself from last year. So, just excited to get back out there and put my best work on film.
In 2020, the Cowboys not only ran the ball to the right side more than the left, but they were also more successful when they did so. Unfortunately, Dallas will be without starting right guard Zach Martin, who is on the COVID-19 reserve list. Elliott says they'll have to do the best they can with their backups.
They can't let it be more than what it is. We're definitely going to miss him. Definitely wish he was out there, but we still have a game to go play, and we got to go try to get the job done. Most runs, they coming back behind him. Even last year, we were battling some injuries. He moved him to right tackle, and he still, excelled at right tackle. So his talent is you can't speak about him enough. But we got to go out there and do what we can. Who we got?
Zach Martin's absence continues a not-so-great streak for the Cowboys offensive line, who haven't had all 5 starters play on a line together since 2019. Elliott will have to find a way to be successful running the ball, going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who finished with the top run defense last year and have 22 starters returning this season. Kyle, the 2-time league-leading rusher, will just have to find a way to get it done.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Ezekiel Elliott coming up this season. Here's a look at his 2020 stats, where he did have career lows in rushing yards, yards per game, touchdowns, and then he had a career high where you didn't want a career high, and that was with fumbles. Couldn't hold on to the football. You could really talk about the first 3 of those categories, gentlemen, as, well, chalking it up to not having his starting offensive line in front. The last one, however, Isaiah, you got to hold on to the football when you get paid the contract that Ezekiel Elliott does.
Yeah, obviously he knows that. He's coming off that year where he tried to do more than what he really should have had to take over. But, you know, Ezekiel Elliott, not only are they relying on him heavily for his physical contributions, right, in terms of running the ball, catching the ball, and blocking, but also for his mental capacity, right? He's an emotionally intelligent player. So especially for tonight, these guys are going to be relying on him to be the voice of reason, even when things start going away.
Yeah, he's got to fix those fumbles, but like you said, they're going to lean on him, especially tonight. I mean, look, your franchise quarterback is coming back from a major injury. During preseason and camp, he wasn't able to practice as much or throw the ball as much as he was nursing a shoulder injury, and that's okay. He might be a little bit rusty. The timing, the chemistry with his wide receivers may be a little bit off, but that's okay because you got a $90 million running back in the backfield. And look, he's looked stupendous throughout the whole offseason this year. So look, we need to get this guy the ball, whether that's splitting them out, going one-on-one against these linebackers, drawing up some screens, checking the ball down, whatever we got to do to get this man the ball in space. We got to do it, and we got to sit back and watch him eat.
And we talked about the pressure on Kellen Moore. There's certainly a lot of pressure on that man right there. Still has the most yards from scrimmage in the NFL since 2016. He has the opportunity to keep that going tonight, and also having Dak Prescott bat definitely helps. Last year, he averaged almost 30 yards less per game when Dak Prescott was not in the starting lineup. So having him back will certainly help out a lot. Now, you also have the pleasure or the displeasure of seeing Ezekiel Elliott going up against a stout front 7 from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can see the look on your face there, Isaiah. Here's the numbers from Tampa Bay's defense a year ago as they led the NFL through the regular season and in the postseason in terms of takeaways, the interceptions, the forced fumbles, and oh my goodness, look at the sacks that you have right in the bottom of that screen. 48 sacks. That's just in the regular season. They really turned it up going into the playoff run that they ultimately ended up having. But Barry, what is the biggest challenge when facing a defense as talented as this Tampa Bay unit?
I think the biggest challenge going against this Tampa Bay unit is their ability to put pressure on the quarterback. I mean, we're talking about a front 7 with Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, Shaq Barrett, JPP, and not to mention the blitzing linebacker Devin White, who registered 9 sacks last year. So these guys know how to get after the quarterback. If we're going to have any success offensively, we're going to have to be able to block their front 7 or at least hold up their front 7 to give Dak Prescott enough time to get the ball out of his hands. If we're not able to do that, it's going to be a long afternoon for this Cowboys offense.
Yeah, well, you just listed all the dogs that they have on their defense, right? So it's well-known fact that these guys have many playmakers on that side of the ball. But not only do I fear their physical abilities and their attributes, but these guys are all intelligent players. These guys are all veterans. These guys have seen a lot of things. They went all the way to the big show and brought home the ring last year. So these guys know exactly what they're doing, and they have the continuity and the patience to go out there and make the smart plays.
Is this the biggest challenge that the Cowboys will face in the front half of their schedule this year?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, when they're playing the defending champions and, again, bringing everybody back, that is very tough to deal with because these guys are not going to have communication issues.
This is true.
Yeah, you can take a look behind. We can also see out to AT&T Stadium. We're not the only ones getting ready for kickoff. That's out at the Miller Lighthouse, a whole new section of AT&T Stadium. It is a free thing to go and check out, and there is tons to do. You look at Cowboys cheerleaders that are involved with that, so a lot of people are just excited about this. Maybe not so excited to face that Tampa Bay defense. Let's hear from our newest member of our Cowboys pregame live crew and our DallasCowboys.com crew, Britt Johnson, as she's joining Nate Newton. Britt, welcome to the team.
All right, thank you so much, Kyle. I am so excited to be joining this crew this season. Cowboys Nation, are you guys ready? I'm Britt Johnson. I'm here with the legendary Nate Newton. I can't believe I'm doing my first episode with a legend. This is amazing.
I'm easy. I'm Big Newton. I'm all smiles. What do you need to know?
All right, well, we all week long have been talking about Zach Martin. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? We found out he is not going to play. So my question to you is thoughts on Connor McGovern stepping into this position?
I think Connor do a great job. He's a tough kid. Don't have a lot of experience. He played a few games last year, maybe 6 or 7 games last year. He should be okay. As long as he be physical with that front seven, especially with Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh, he should be okay.
Now, as a member of the greatest offensive line in Cowboys history and NFL history, what are your thoughts on our offensive line versus their front seven?
You know, if Zach Martin was playing, it would be no worries.
Right.
But since we have 2 corner guys and we got Tyler Biadasz in the middle like that, we don't know how well they will play together, especially against Vita and Ndamukong Suh. Because if these guys start pressuring the pocket too soon, it gives our outside guys, Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul, an opportunity to go both ways. They either go outside real quick and turn the corner, or they can fake outside and come inside. And if we don't give our quarterback any room to step up or to move around. So these 3 guys have to be solid in the middle.
Now let's talk a little bit about that lineup that they have over there in Tampa Bay. They do the zero technique. Tell us how that is going to be hard for the Cowboys to overcome. Because
Tyler Biadasz is new to this. I mean, he played 1 game last year, maybe 2, and he got injured. We don't know how physical he is. But Vita, he's a big guy out of Washington State, I think, number 50. I mean, a big old guy, bigger than me. And he likes to get hands, he likes to get his hands inside and drive the center back. My man have to sit down. Biadasz have to be real physical and sit down and keep that pocket so Dak can have a chance to step up to either side. So that is a handful. That zero technique right on top of the center.
Now, speaking of Dak, this is going to be his first game back in a long time. Do you have any concerns on the timing at the beginning of the game?
1 or 2 series. Dak is a professional. He's got great talent on the outside. He got 2 great backs, I think. Right now, we just going to worry about that offensive line hold. If we come back with some quick 3-step drops, 1, 2, 3, boom, and let him get it out and get a rhythm, he'll be okay.
Well, too bad we can't get you suited up and laced up for this game. Kyle, back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Britt. And once again, welcome to the team. Great, as always, hearing from you and from 6-time Pro Bowler Nate Newton, who will join us here a little bit later on. But first, let's hear from Dak Prescott himself. How does he feel getting back out there? And, of course, the challenge that awaits him, trying to outduel Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm definitely ready. I mean, I'm excited. I've put a lot of work to get to this point. Whether it was months ago, just rehabbing the ankle, to the last few months, keeping the feet working while I let my arm rest. But there's so much work that I've put into this. I'm just excited just to go out there and be a part of the full game. Just being out there with my brothers and getting to do something that I love.
A couple times as like a Yeller David going to meet Goliath. How much do you love being that underdog from the time you were with your brothers growing up to now? How much does that add the fire?
Yeah, I mean that's why my fire burns, to be honest. I've always been doubted, always been considered, as you said, the underdog. From being the little brother to now in the NFL, people find ways to doubt me, and I just think it's fun, and I embrace those challenges. This is just the one at the present time.
Talk about the challenge of facing that Tampa Bay defense your first game out. I mean, I know you guys were believing your offense.
Yeah.
Time on task as defense come back in 10 last season.
Yeah, this isn't just any ordinary defenses, as you're saying, and they're returning all their starters. They're Super Bowl winning defense, number 1 in the run game last year, and caused a lot of big plays, a lot of turnovers. So we've got to come in and we've got to accept that challenge, and we have, and we've already prepared for that. Certain things that we're doing throughout the week, we're obviously giving them their respect, but at the same time, we know what we're capable of. And as I said, it's just an exciting moment for obviously our offense to go up against their defense, but just this game alone just to start the NFL season.
Quite the quarterback battle tonight. Dak Prescott, when you look at it by game, had right around the same numbers, I guess, last year when healthy against Tom Brady. He had a little bit more yards per game. However, Tom Brady did take advantage, had more touchdowns per game and less turnovers. That was one of the things this Cowboys offense struggled last year. Whenever Dak Prescott was healthy, I mean, inside the top 3 in yards per game, scoring, all sorts of stuff, but they were at the bottom of the list in terms of giveaways. What's the pressure like on Dak Prescott tonight to perform whenever you do have a GOAT on the other sideline like Tom Brady?
I think the pressure, Kyle, is that he will not have been played a lot of games, since last year's injury. That's the pressure right there. Once he get out there and takes the snaps and start playing the situations, the down and distance, he'll be okay because he's not thinking about Tom Brady. He's thinking about Vita Vea, Jason Pierre-Paul, and reading coverages. But once he gets those first 2 or 3 series in, he should be okay.
So you think it'll only take about 2 or 3 series to get into that? Is that enough to make a big impact on whether or not Dak Prescott is going to have a good night or not?
Yes, it will. If our defense, if our team hold and not get too far behind, you don't want him to have to throw 40-plus times a game coming back. And we don't know. They say the shoulder is right, but we don't know. But you don't want to test it out the first game. You want this thing to be a level. You want to have a run-pass ratio that's kind of even there. So we need for him to stay steady early.
We asked this question a little earlier with Barry and Isaiah, but I want to ask you as well. Those first-game jitters are definitely a thing in the NFL, but why is it a little bit different for Dak Prescott having missed almost a full entire year out with injury?
You know what, man? I never played quarterback. I don't have that cerebral mind to even think that way. But as an offensive lineman, when I miss several games and come back the next year, man, I'm jumping. My stomach is up. I stay in the restroom. That's all I can tell you. Yeah. Hey, that's all I can tell you, bro.
Hopefully that's not the case for Dak Prescott tonight moving forward. That's Nate Newton, of course, on the offensive line. Let's join Barry and Isaiah, who have wandered to the other side of the studio. Guys, facing Tom Brady is no easy task. How does this defense do it?
It's no easy task at all, and that's the reason why I took my jacket off. Barry's a little bit too swole to take his off. But we're going to show you guys exactly what you have to do to disrupt things for TB12, the 7-time Super Bowl champion TB12 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Barry, what is it that we have to do on defense to make things a little bit muddy on that side of the ball?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Dan Quinn has his hands full with Tom Brady. This guy's been in the league, 22 years, I think? 22 years. He's seen it all, from zones, the blitzes, the man. He's seen it all. So Dan Quinn's going to have to put his thinking cap on. He's going to have to use that young influx in talent, that young influx in athleticism. I'm talking to you, Micah Parsons. He's got to be out there, and he's got to blitz, and he's got to be able to move him around to try to confuse Tom Brady a little bit. Maybe slide that line this way, maybe slide that line that way, but they got to confuse Tom Brady.
All right, so we're going to show you guys a couple things that you have to be alert for tonight. I'm going to play the role of TB12, Tom Brady. He's going to play the role of our brand new, fresh linebacker, Michael Parsons. And we're going to give you guys a couple looks in terms of what to expect tonight. So remember, going right here into the shotgun. All right, TB12, you can expect him to be in the shotgun with all his personnel, all his weapons out there. And the first thing he's going to try to do is identify who is the threat. So he's going to come up, he's going to go start at the safety position, work his way to the linebackers, and he's going to see that Michael Parsons right here at the end of the line of scrimmage. What does that do to him? He is going to now communicate to his offensive line he is the most dangerous threat. So what am I going to do? Hey, red, 11, 11's the mic. That communication right there just told the whole offensive line, alert, alert. That's where we need to slide our protection to ensure that I don't get hit in my back.
And that's exactly what Dan Quinn wants. He wants, before the pre-snap to go, he wants Tom Brady to shift that line to the most dangerous threat, which we think is going to be Micah Parsons. Once he switches that line to Micah Parsons, I need him to use some of his swag, some of that savvy that he has from Penn State. And as he get into that cadence, use that swag, get over the middle, and do what you do best, and that is blitz, and especially up the middle, because we know that interior force, it frustrates Tom Brady to all end. We've got to get that force up to the middle. So once he's coming through that middle, roll them hips, get up under Tom Brady, and the rest will be history.
That's what we have to do tonight to make things nasty for TB12. Kyle, back to you.
Man, I hope everybody at home was taking notes on that, because I certainly learned a lot just in that couple of minutes with Isaiah and Barry. But Tom Brady has that mutual respect back and forth between Cowboys and then also Dak Prescott as well. He's been through the injury return. Here's what he had to say earlier this week about his respect for the organization and also Dak Prescott and the way he's returning from his injury.
Yeah, mine was 2008. I got injured and I missed the whole year. Dak played a little more than I did his last year. He played, 4 or 5 games, had great 4 or 5 games. So he's a really talented player. Really, since the day he got in the league, he's shown to be a great leader of the team. And, we're just expecting him to play like Dak Prescott does. He's very talented, moves in the pocket, throws a good ball. They got a lot of talented skill players. So for us offensively, we're going to have to do a good job putting our defense in a good position. I don't think we can give any extra possessions. Turnovers will be a big factor. Field position is going to be important. Getting off the field on third down and us staying on the field, keeping the ball out of their hands is going to be important. But, they do a good job. Good running backs, good receivers, great offensive line. Dak's a great player. So They got one of the best offenses, a very talented defense. Linebackers are very deep at linebacker. They got a good push up front, and I think they have a very talented secondary. So it's a big challenge for our team. I mean, I think whether they score or not, we feel like that's our job. We're not. Coach doesn't put us out there to punt, so we want to go out there and we want to score points too. So they're going to move the ball. They're going to have some yards, and our defense, we both have to do a good job in the red area. It's always about points. You win or lose based on points. They do a good job moving the football. And if they score, we got to score too. I mean, we're going to try to score every time we have the ball.
They're going to have to score against this Cowboys defense, which, of course, in 2020 did not have the best season, and we'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit. Here are the numbers, and I promise I've already said the word to our producers in the back. We are only going to look at this one more time. This is what the Cowboys put up defensively in 2020, 31st in the run defense, last in goal-to-go defense, because percentages were against them throughout the entire season a year ago, and then going up against a challenge like Tom Brady is certainly going to be a test early on. But Barry, I'm going to start off with you. What are the biggest changes you already see in this Cowboys defense now run by Dan Quinn?
The changes I see, these guys are playing much faster than they did last year. We've seen it all preseason. These guys are playing with their hair on fire. When they go out to tackle, it's no more one-on-one tackles like we've seen a year ago. These guys are gang tackling, 3, 4, 5 hats at the ball at the same time. They have that gang mentality. So if we're able to do that and continue to find ways to take the ball away, in back-to-back preseason games, we were able to take the ball away twice. Last year we struggled with that, and it hurt us game in and game out. So we've got to be able to take the ball away, continue that gang mentality when it's talking about tackling the football. If we can do those two things, this defense has a recipe for success.
And then when we was in training camp watching this, you can hear the communication by the coaches, by the players, by the safeties. Everybody's talking. They're telling Parson, hey, this is where you line up. This is what you do. Everybody's getting an understanding to allow them to play fast, Church, to allow them to do the things they need to do. So this team is ready. Now, playing against Tom Brady is a different character, but as long as they play fast and hustle and get to the ball and tackle, they'll be all right.
Now taking a couple looks at this defensive line as well. No Neville Gallimore in the middle of that rotation through the first couple weeks of the season, as they didn't have the biggest success in terms of replacing him. And they have guys there. Osa Odighizuwa, certainly one of those. But how do you feel about the Cowboys in their rotation interior?
Oh, well, look, to start off with Neville Gallimore, I think it's going to be a huge injury. I think he's going to make that year 2 jump and be one of the premier defensive tackles in this league, but it's just a shame we won't be able to see him today. But he was going to be able to provide that interior rush that we know frustrates Tom Brady, because he's a master at stepping up in the pocket and that pocket mobility, moving side to side, getting the ball out of his hands. We knew that was going to be a part of their game plan. But this injury to Neville Gallimore gives guys the opportunity, like you just said, a Brent Urban, Osa Odighizuwa.
Odighizuwa.
Sorry, I tried.
Great shot.
And Brent Bohanna, those guys out there have to step up and get the job done if we want to have any success tonight against Tampa Bay.
And Carlos Watkins is one of those guys that's going to see a lot of playing time. But what these guys have to do, along with Coach Quinn, is be precise in what they're trying to do. Know where they're supposed to be. Play your gaps. Don't try to be too fancy. I saw what you and my boy was doing earlier. Don't be too fancy. Just know who you are. Play fast and tackle the ball.
That hands-on approach has
certainly
helped out. I think even a lot of these young guys, 11 rookies on that defense already, not all of them on the defense, but 11 rookies drafted in April's NFL draft. And Dan Quinn has a lot of those guys, 8 of them that he's been working one-on-one with. One of those is Osa Odighizuwa, who was not very shy earlier this week when talking about going up against Tom Brady and an opportunity for the rookie.
What's Tom Brady's weakness?
Not very mobile. Been playing for 21 years, dude is a little older, not too mobile. So I'll say that's probably what it is.
In that respect, then, how important is interior pressure getting in his face?
Get him off the spot. Passer rating goes down by a lot. So our role is super important this week as far as getting after him and rushing our butts off.
Have they shown you in meetings what his rating is inside the pocket and when you get him off the spot, what the rating is outside?
I think they said it goes down like 50.
When Tom Brady sees his quote of he's not that mobile, he uses any little thing to motivate him. How do you think when he sees his quote today or tomorrow, how do you think he's going to respond when he sees it?
I don't know. I feel like he's not a guy that's too worried about what I'm saying. He's obviously going to be aware of it, but I've been doing this for a while. People say this, that, and the third. Been doing his thing, you know.
Odighizuwa going to play a huge role on the interior of that defensive line. Overall, the defensive line has a lot of exciting pieces to go along with it as well. You look at, even without Neville Gallimore inside, you still feel good about the youth. And like you said, Carlos Watkins, who's an added veteran presence in the middle of that defensive line. But how about on the edge? Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence coming back this season to potentially put up some numbers. These were in limited time last year, especially when talking about Randy Gregory. Those 3.5 sacks came in 2 games, on Thanksgiving against Washington and then on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. So overall, having him back with a full offseason for the first time since 2016 could set him up for a lot of success. What is the ceiling for this edge rusher class when you look at these two guys, Barry?
Look, I truly think the sky's the limit when we're talking about both of these guys. Now, I think early on in the season, teams will either slide to protection or try to double DeMarcus Lawrence, and that's when you got Randy Gregory one-on-one backside. And I firmly believe that Randy Gregory can consistently beat his one-on-ones and get to the quarterback. So at that point, what do you do as an offense? If you slide it towards Gregory, you got D-Law one-on-one. Slide it towards D-Law, you got Gregory one-on-one. It's kind of picking your poison. So I expect both of these guys to have a tremendous 2021 season this year.
The advantage Randy Gregory had is getting that basic foundation up under man. He went against Tyron Smith every day, almost every day when Tyron practiced. So he got a chance to see what an all-pro Pro Bowler looked like. And so now everybody else is secondary. He's cream right now, and he's got his basic foundation up on it. And guess what? He can run defend a little bit. He can get them long arms out there and set out on people. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do.
We saw some of that run defense out in Oxnard throughout training camp, and Kellen Moore said, I can tell you one thing, we will not be running a reverse anywhere near Randy Gregory because he can set the edge so exceptionally well. How about DeMarcus Lawrence? How does he feel about the opener and how his defense is stacking up after the offseason?
Oh, yeah, I feel good about, everything, all the way from our head coach, all the way down to our kicker, and that's how you should feel going into a season. And we did a lot of building this year. So overall, I just feel, great about the opportunity and just ready to go.
Is still motivation of how bad last year was? That still piss y'all off and make y'all want to?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Just looking back on what we had to go through last year, it was tough, but, if it don't kill you, it makes you stronger. So I'm just ready to see how strong we are.
What have you learned about Dan Quinn throughout the course of the preseason?
Dan Quinn, he's a go-getter. He gonna put his best 11 guys on the field, and he's gonna send them. And that's what I like about him. He's in attack mode. I'm in attack mode. So, sure, we're going to get it.
It's just in attack mode. This is what you're excited about. Last year, I know you were frustrated standing up and not really doing the things that you were great at.
Yeah.
Now you get back to do those things that you were good at.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's the main thing. Everybody got their own way, of playing this game of football. And, last year it wasn't my way. I accepted it, but being able to get back to the way I know how to play the game, it's going to be exciting.
DeMarcus Lawrence aiming to get back to prominence off of the edge in this defensive line, trying to get back to the prominence that they showed back in 2018 as well. Look behind us. AT&T Stadium, the Miller Lighthouse, where the Rhythm and Blue dancers were just taking the stage a couple moments ago, and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, there's the Rhythm and Blue dancers. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders will be out there in a couple of minutes. You got some moves like that, Isaiah?
My shoulder's a little tight.
A little bit? I know Barry's got them.
I got the
Yeah, you just don't want to show off. You might get plucked and taken out there to the Miller Lighthouse. I know we wish we were out there having the free beer or whatever it ends up being. But here in the Globe Life studios, we've got a game to talk about. And while they are exceptionally smooth in their dance moves, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a smooth offense, and that wide receiver core is so dangerous. You look at all the touchdowns between these 5 guys. The top 3 receivers, 164 touchdowns. The top 2 tight ends combined for 100. I did the math, so you don't have to at home. Point is, there is so much firepower on that offense, and Tom Brady has a chance to exploit that today. How do the Cowboys slow them down, Isaiah?
You know what? You have to get in these guys' face. I mean, one name that you didn't even see on there that should be added on there now is Giovanni Bernard. Now you have an official third down back that he can throw the ball to, which we know Tom Brady loves his third down scat backs. But in order to slow these guys down, you have to get in their face and be physical. Don't take the bend but don't break approach. He will pick you apart all day long. Trust me. Get up there, Put hands on those guys at the line of scrimmage, disrupt their timing, use the sideline as your additional defender, and try to make these guys go long with some of these more inaccurate passes.
Yeah, you're completely right on that. And I think we got to do two things. I think we got to limit the big play and take care of the yak. Now, that's going to be a tough thing. We just saw what type of trio they have at receiver, not to mention the vertical threats at tight end they hold. So as a secondary, we've got to communicate well. We have got to make sure everybody's on the same page. We can't have any busts out there or easy big plays out there because we know Tom Brady will exploit that. And now when it comes to the yak, we have to be great tacklers out there. We know Tom Brady is a master at getting the ball out of his hands quick, letting those 2 to 3 yard passes turn into 15 to 20 yard runs. We cannot have that. We have to be great against the yak, be great against the big play, and we might have an opportunity to slow down this vaunted Tampa Bay passing attack.
It's really about limiting the damage, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because they're going to get their fill. This is an offense that will have their yardage, that will have their scores, but it's really important on how they limit that going into the year, right?
Yeah, you can't have any busts out there. Tom Brady he's a master at exploiting everything, so you have to be on your P's and Q's out there, and communication has a lot to do with that.
Heading into second year for Trayvon Diggs, he's going to have to be on his P's and Q's as the corner out there. He's going to have a unique matchup against Mike Evans in this wide receiver core. Here's what he had to say about that matchup.
You got two different receivers, the bigger body, and then you got ABs real quick, got great routes. So, you just got to adjust, and, however you're going to play them, you got to play them that way and just adjust to it. I feel like I improved. There's always room for work, room for improvement. I try to work on something every day, something, just going to practice to get better at. And, it's always room for improvement. But I feel like, things are starting to slow down for me. And I just want things to really, really slow down for me and, just making those plays.
What's one thing you needed to improve on that you saw in your own games and next year just has to be better?
Everything, everything. Like I said, there's always room for improvement. So every day I'm working on something. So everything that requires of being a great corner, I'm going to try to do that and work on it.
Did we mention that Tampa Bay can run the ball exceptionally well, too? I mean, Trayvon Diggs is going to be certainly looking at how to defend the pass, but how about the running backs for Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers? They've got a pair of them, and you want to throw Giovanni Bernard. He's not even on this graphic, but that shows how dangerous this offense is. Ronald Jones II, who lost his starting job late in the year because of a bit of a COVID stint, and then Leonard Fournette, who became just the third player in NFL history to score a touchdown in all 4 playoff games along the way. I mean, they call him Playoff Lenny for a reason. How are these guys going to bring a different aspect to this Tampa Bay offense that the Cowboys are going to have to stop?
Because they run the ball extremely hard. Ronald Jones and Fournette. I had a chance to play with Fournette down in Jacksonville, and this guy is a horse. I'm talking about he is a horse. He runs the ball extremely hard, has the ball high and tight at all times. So when I'm talking about Leonard Fournette, we have got to slow this man down. Ronald Jones as well. He's more of a hit the hole and just get going, and as well as Leonard Fournette. So we got to slow these guys down if we want any chance in this game.
Yeah, one thing that I see when I watch these guys run the ball is they always fall forward. And that's so difficult. You speak to their power, you speak to their ability to always, get first downs. It was the reason why, because even when things are stopped up in the hole, they're still falling for 3 or 4 yards. So they are always in good position in third down and distance. And now you throw in Giovanni Bernard. We got some work to do, fellas.
Just about 15 minutes till game time, and I know the Cowboys are probably still trying to write up things and schemes of how to slow down this offense, but we don't have to worry about the pulse of Cowboys Nation. Everybody's excited about this matchup with the Buccaneers, and here we go. Britt Johnson again has an opportunity to put her finger on the pulse of Cowboys Nation. Britt, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Kyle. I get to do the best part of the show, which is read some tweets from you guys this week, all the fans. Send some tweets. We got some stuff coming. This one, of course, we had to start with Michael Irvin. Of course we did. He said, Ray Davis said a challenge doesn't become an obstacle unless you bow to it. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak has endured many obstacles the past 11 months, but he refuses to bow. Wow, what a weight to carry on those shoulders starting Thursday, but he can do it. And, it's funny because I actually tweeted something that was hilarious because I got so many responses from it. I'm personally excited to see what Jordan cleats Dak Prescott wears. Now, I didn't think this was going to go as viral as it did, but I got hundreds and thousands of people commenting. We got 6s, we got 5s, 11s, and the number one answer was 1. So we will see in just a little bit what cleats Dak Prescott is going to be wearing tonight. Who knew that was the biggest thing that was going to be happening? Dak is back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so NFL Films posted before his first start, Micah Parsons enlists the help of DeMarcus Ware, which is another Cowboys great, to prepare for Tom Brady's mind games. Now, that wasn't the tweet all by itself. This is why we're tuning into this one. D. Ware said from his Twitter, he'll be ready. So if he says it, I believe it. And of course, we got to end on a good note. This is what everybody is feeling right now, you guys. This is how I feel. This is probably how you feel. Island Girl Trish said, I'm so excited for Thursday. Could pee my pants. It's going to be a party for sure. Are you ready, Cowboys fans? I'm ready. Kyle, are you ready?
I mean, guys, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Of course.
Are you ready?
I'll stay ready.
Nate's always ready.
Man, let's go.
Great job
baby.
as always from Britt Johnson, and we are excited to have her as a part of the crew. But guys, we've got a lot of new players, much like we have the new talent on the TV show. We've got new players on the field, lots of rookies, 11 to be exact. I mentioned 8 on the defensive side of the football. How important is it to get some of these young guys in early and have their learning moments against the reigning Super Bowl champion?
I think it's very important. I mean, a lot of those guys that we brought in bring speed to our defense. If you saw it during the preseason, that speed popped off the tape. And I think we're going to need that athleticism, that speed, that sideline to sideline. We're going to need it tonight against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, and the reality is, not only do these guys need to take a bath, they need to get baptized, right? And there's no better way to get baptized than some of the best guys, not only in the world, but just in the league, right? I mean, this is the best that the NFL has to provide. So, what other way to get some reps, get some stripes under your belt than to go against these guys?
You know, I heard Coach say last year, before the draft, I want guys that can cover the field. We got guys with long arms, tall. I mean, just good-looking guys. Now it's time to see them play.
I think
it's
one
time
of
to
the
see them play.
most improved parts of this defense is the team speed because of the additions they made. And they made it a point, Isaiah, to really get bigger, get faster, get longer. Did they succeed in doing so?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the guys that we added on this side of the ball, we talk about Parsons, we talk about Cox, right? We talking about, Osa. All these guys, they allow us to have the versatility to face any personnel groupings that we want. It doesn't matter if we're facing a team like Tampa Bay, right? That can run the ball, they can pound the ball at you. Guess what? We can come downhill. If they want to line up with their tight ends, they have 3 solid tight ends. We can line up with those guys. We have the speed, we have the range. Now we can do whatever we want to on this side of the ball. And Dan Quinn has all the tools he wants.
Yeah, he wants all of the weapons. He wants to add them all up on the defensive side of the football. And we finally get to see the reveal tonight of a lot of those weapons, one of which Micah Parsons, who's really excited for his first opportunity to make his NFL debut. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's going to be my first full game in about 2 years, so it gives me a great chance to go out there, maybe make a mistake, but, just keep going, next play, and not let anything get the best of me and just play my best, really. So it'll be exciting to finally get my first full game under my belt again.
What's the key to stopping Tom Brady in the NFL?
To be honest with you, not too many people stopped them, I would say just slow them down. They got a pretty good offense. They got a lot of weapons, and, we just going to have to go weapon on weapon and see who outlasts the other weapon, So, slow them down and put some pressure on them, and, hopefully we come up with a turnover off a mistake.
So lots of added talent, including Micah Parsons, to the linebacker core. You've got Neal now in the mix. You've got Jabril Cox, who's now in the mix. Is this linebacker core, one, more talented than they've had in the past, and two, how much of a microscope is going to be on them, Barry?
Without a doubt, they're more talented than what we had in the past. We've seen on third downs time and time again last year where our linebackers got exposed in coverage, and I don't think that's going to be the same here with the Micah Parsons, the Cox, the Keanu Neals that we brought in here. I don't think that's going to be a problem. These guys are ready to play.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys, we just talked about it, right? The versatility and the speed. We're going to be in positions tonight where these guys are going to have to carry these tight ends up the field. Sometimes you guys have to carry the running backs out the backfield. So we're going to have a great understanding coming out of tonight exactly what we have.
These guys know who they are. Even young Bohannon coming out of Kentucky, he know he's a body, a magnet. He attract bodies so these linebackers can come down here. Coach Quinn told me during training camp, he got a package for everything. Ain't nothing, he like Tom Brady. Ain't nothing you can show him new. It's just can the players do it.
You brought up a really good point there with Quentin Bohanna in the middle of that defense. Yeah. It is very well known that defensive tackles playing well helps out the linebackers. Is there more pressure on this linebacker squad tonight, the fact that Neville Gallimore is not there?
Yeah, they got to make plays. They got to scrape. They got to butt heads. They got to do it all, baby. And more importantly, they got to run. They got to be decisive. We weren't decisive last year. When you see it, go get it.
I got to have that quick trigger from the middle of that defense, and it certainly looks like the Cowboys have taken a big step forward in trying to do that. Let's take a big step out to Raymond James Stadium, where we're joined again by Nick Eben, who's found a special guest on the sideline.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. And Stephen, I know that we played like games last year, but it didn't feel like this. This has got to be an exciting moment for you guys.
Well, this is what it's all about. This is really what the NFL is all about. Now, my hat's off to how we played our way through it last year. Our players, our staffs, our league office did a tremendous job, but it's so great to welcome our fans, and really at the end of the day what the NFL is all about, which is having the fans involved in the game. Doesn't get any better than this, especially for the Cowboys, because you're playing against a Super Bowl champion. They set the bar where it needed to be last year. We're going to get to go up against the greatest quarterback of all time. We're going to get to see where we are tonight for sure.
When the schedule came out, did you view it that way? I mean, did you say, well, I guess we're jumping right into the deep end of the pool?
Well, we know we're getting them one way or the other, so why not? Why not do it on a big stage? Certainly, I know our players are looking forward to it. I think we're going to come out. We're a new look team in terms of defensively and what Dan Quinn's done with this defense. I can't wait to see how they perform out there. And, of course, to have all our players back on offense, to have Dak Prescott, that offensive line, Blake Jarwin. We're just ready to see him get rolling.
I know you talked about Tom Brady. Let's talk about Dak like you just mentioned. There's been talk about the ankle and the shoulder. But in the week of practice, you got a chance to see him. Seems like he's ready to roll.
Well, that guy's just the ultimate leader. He's the leader of the band here, no question. And he has all the confidence in the world that he ain't going to miss a beat. And if he says it so, I believe him. And no, he's so ready to get back into action. He's had a great week of practice, and I know his, when he gets in that offensive huddle, I know everybody's going to be ready to go.
How about the running back with them, Ezekiel Elliott? He said he's got chip on his shoulder, maybe both shoulders, ready to redeem himself. You haven't seen him in the preseason, but you feel like he's in that same boat?
No question. I mean, he came in the best shape he's ever been in. He's kept that throughout preseason. I know he's going to be glad to be in that offensive huddle and look up front and see Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins, although not tonight, but Zach Martin and company. I do think Connor McGovern's going to do a great job filling in for Zach Martin tonight.
Was it close that he had a shot to play, or was it really just not this week for him?
It wasn't going to be this week for him, and he's obviously, it's not hurting anybody any worse than it is Zach Martin. He wants to be here worse than he can breathe, but his time's going to come real quickly, and he'll be ready to go for game 2.
We saw on Hard Knocks the other day how Micah Parsons is talking to a pretty good pass rusher in DeMarcus Ware, giving him some tips on how to go after Brady. Just how excited are you about watching number 11 and what he's going to do here tonight?
Well, we think we really lucked into one there. Obviously we were looking at corner, but when those corners went, we ended up with Micah, and I'm not so sure we didn't get the best defensive player in the draft. He's shown it practice in, practice out, preseason game in, preseason game out. You can see what he's all about, that 4.3 speed and a 250-pound frame. I mean, he brings it. And I think our defensive coaches are going to do a great job of scheming him. You'll see him come from a lot of different places. And, of course, watching his speed sideline to sideline is something special, and it shows up in coverage as well.
One more, Stephen. We've heard 22 starters coming back. The GOAT, we're hanging banners here tonight. How does your team get this win, though? What do you guys have to do to get the win?
I think we just got to go out and play fast, play hard with great cadence. Let our players be our players. We think a lot of our football team, as we said, we've got to go out and prove it now. And if we play with the intensity, with the cadence, the speed that I know we can play with, then we're going to have every chance in the world to be in this game and have a chance to win it.
Let's do it. All right. That's Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll throw it back to you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome, as always, to have Stephen Jones giving us a little insight going into the first game of the regular season. I know he's excited to get back to football, and a special thanks again to Nick Eben out there as well, rejoined by the 3 former Cowboys, Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. We've got 3 Cowboys right now that really could set the world on fire from the wide receiver position, as there is the expectations through the roof for Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, the triple threat of receivers that the Cowboys have at the wideout position. And Nate, I ask you, even against a very stout Tampa Bay defense, can these 3 get off the ground tonight?
Oh, definitely. They can get off the ground. I like all 3 of them, but I'm going to let these guys here break it down. CeeDee Lamb, Hold on.
No, we know about our three dogs on the outside, right? We got Coop, all right, we got Gallup, and we have CD. All these guys can go. We need our offensive line to give these guys the ability to be able to get the ball off, number one. But this secondary that they're going against, these guys are veterans. These are not no rookies we're going against. These guys are veterans, returning Super Bowl champions. So they've seen everything that the league has to throw at them. We're going to be challenged at the line of scrimmage. Can we get a release? Do we have time to get the ball off? And can these guys win one-on-one matchups outside?
Well, look, I'm going to go ahead and make it 3 for 3 because I'm 100% on board with these guys taking off tonight. I think they can take advantage of that Tampa Bay secondary, but you were right, Isaiah. It all comes down to whether or not this offensive line can block that front seven of the Tampa Bay. If they're able to do that, if they're able to give Dak Prescott enough time to get the ball out of his hands and let these boys do damage, when they're in space, there's no team better. I think this trio can go off tonight.
It's crazy how this goes back down to fundamentals of the offensive line because, like you said, when you look at this Tampa Bay secondary, this isn't the best secondary, Barry, they're going to face all year long. So when you look at the receivers that the Cowboys have, do you see them maybe keeping it underneath 10 yards to allow Dak Prescott to get it to them quicker?
I can see that happening exactly. I mean, if you can get these guys on a shallow crosser, give them time to catch the ball and get that yak yardage that we always talk about. If they're able to do that, which I think they can, there should be no stopping this trio of receivers tonight.
That'll be one key to the game, certainly. Get the Cowboys receivers the ball with some space and let them run a little bit. I know Cowboys Nation's excited for that. How about the rest of our keys to the game? Nate, I'm going to start with you on the far side. We've got about 5 minutes till the top of the hour, about 25 minutes till kickoff. How are the Cowboys going to win this one in Tampa Bay?
Offensive line. I'm telling you, the Connor brothers, B. Oddish, our two tackles are legit. So we ain't worried about them. They too legit to quit. But it's inside, they got to hold strong. They got to hold strong because Vita Vale, Dominican Soup, they coming. And this linebacker y'all talk about that can blitz. Lord Jesus. So they got to be strong where these two defensive ends can't have the two-way get at these guys.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at you, Nate Dogg, keeping the things in the trenches. You know a little bit about the trenches. I'm going to go to the other side of the ball. We have to, and I'm going to repeat, we have to be able to control the line of scrimmage because if we don't, it's going to be a long day. Now, listen up. These boys right here, they can play. All right, those guys are going to be bringing a lot of pressure up front. Our offensive line is going to have to hold up. On the defensive side of things, they have a guy on the O-line at the center named Jensen. He is nasty. He is exactly how you draw it up when you want an offensive lineman. He's a dirty dog who wants to run you into the ground all the way through the whistle, after the whistle. All right, and he's going to test the character of our defensive line. We have some young guys in there that are now playing. Are they going to be able to bounce back after they get drugged? They're going to get drugged. Get up, get back in the game, and let's make some plays.
It's about rebounding.
It's about rebounding.
I didn't know this was a basketball segment. We just got right back into rebounding.
Hey, look, you guys stayed in the trenches, so I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to go to the second level in our linebackers. I think our linebackers are going to be the key to this game. Can they continue to go out there and play with that speed that we saw in the preseason? Keanu O'Neal, Parsons popping off the tape, tackling guys, ripping the ball out. Can they take that preseason intensity and can they bring it to the regular season against Tom Brady and these boys? If they can, I think we got a shot tonight.
How about Dak Prescott getting that confidence back? That's my key to the game. I don't always give a key to the game, but that's mine. It's back up to the offensive line. Let's let him throw the ball around a little bit. Let's take a couple deep shots early, try and get behind this Tampa Bay defense, and this should be a fun one to watch. Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, the Cowboys, America's team, and the best team in the world right now, the reigning Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kickoff at 7:20 on NBC, but that's going to do it for us. For Cowboys Pregame Live, for Barry, Isaiah, and Nate, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you later in the day, everybody. Enjoy the game.
I hope they don't get drugged.